if you've been following us and my word carries any value whatsoever to you, just know that what I'm telling you is true. This individual did say this to us, and I believe him.
Under that wide open Arkansas sky.
So previously on It's All Grady.
Yeah, what did we do? Oh, I beat the heat, baby. Got out there, zero turned my yard. It was pretty sweet, man. We did the framing to fix the drywall cracking that I got. I'm hoping that it'll work. I hope it works. Yeah, we got to pull the mud, but we didn't do that because I had another project going on that I'm going to share with you soon. But today is something a little bit different.
It certainly is.
Yeah, we're going to scramble the eggs a little bit, baby.
So we've had a lot on our mind lately, guys, and we just wanted to share some things with you about ourselves. And we've just been evaluating, how did we end up here?
Exactly. So first and foremost, I'm going to say we are going to reveal a little bit more about who we are, and maybe some people will understand even more how relatable we really are and where we're coming from. All right, guys, so that being said, we are not fear-mongering, but something does feel off, right? Something doesn't feel right here, right? If I told you that if you kick me, I'm going to kick you back, and then you kick me, guess what? I'm probably going to kick you back. And that's all I'll say about that. We are not a political channel. We are not a fear-monger channel. We are not like the aluminum full hat wearing prepper channel yet. Right? But we do have some experience in this, yeah? We've had our own experiences, and I'll bet you that a lot of you can relate. First of all, we were contractors, painters. So we've already been preppers our whole relationship, a passive prepper status, right? Because you might only work 6 months. You still got to eat for the other 6 months.
So in our old life, we only worked 6 months out of the year. So with that being said, we had to plan ahead a little bit, and we tended to pick up our supplies in bulk, which carried us through until we had our next paycheck.
We've shielded this side of us from you guys for a long time for fear of its perception, yeah? But in the same sense, right now things feel off enough that we feel like we just want to say something about it. And it's not about what's going on in the world, because our opinion is our opinion, other people's opinion is other people's opinion. In the end, we all experienced 2020. Yeah, we all experienced it, and it was because we were passive preppers that we were not part of the problem in the big city. We were actually part of the solution. Because we had a semblance of preparedness, we were able to help our friends who didn't have the time or even like the thought to be prepared, because you never think that's going to happen unless it happens. We started out watching YouTube, you know what I mean? It started with some weird stuff like Yellowstone's going to blow up. Because we live so close to Yellowstone, guys, and we were like, what if Yellowstone blew up? Then what? So we ran out and bought a lantern. And that's where it started, guys.
That's where it all started.
With one lantern. And, you know, and from there we actually blossomed. But we've had real life experiences, right? I'm going to share something with you real quick, and then we're going to go over some of our general preparedness, like contributions and things that we think anybody can find use in. Yeah? So this was before crazy 2020, right? We worked for the state of Colorado. And part of the state of Colorado that we worked for had to do with infectious disease, biological and chemical, things like that. It was the air quality type stuff. And the person that we talked to was somebody that was somebody. And he was a bigwig, and he knew he was the guy that the other people would call if they found some crazy stuff in an envelope, right? And sent to... you know what I mean? Those types of things. This guy was smart like that, and that was the field that he was in. It was those types of things. He never shared exactly all the things, but we knew what department he worked for, so we believed that's what he was talking to us about. And we talked to him about our general preparedness. Yeah? And he shared with us. I remember because it was so crystal clear, and it was nighttime, because that's when we worked. Evenings and weekends, and he was working late, and there was some threats going on right at that time. And he said, If you knew what I knew, you wouldn't be passive about any of it. You would be full bore prepping. And we were like, what? You know what I mean? Shoot, man, we better go get some stuff. That's where we ended up with because somebody we trusted that was like in one of those positions that would know, had shared with us a personal part of his life that encouraged us to be a little bit more prepared. And because of that, we were ready for 2020.
Our passive prepping from just collecting stuff on our off season turned into something a little bit more.
It did. And it started with, like I said, a lantern, yeah? And we blossomed from there, guys. We started getting a lot of things, right? One of our biggest things, though, guys, was our water filtration, right? We started that out in Denver, and it had a lot to do with the crappy water, right? We believe water shouldn't have a taste. The cheap, generic Kroger brand is what we always drank because there was no taste, right? There's no flavor, and we were happy about it. Well, Denver water was yuck. So we bought this thing, and we used it for a long time. And then all of a sudden, we got messages and like warnings from the state, from the city, and from the water company saying, please do not drink our water. It is contaminated with lead. Thankfully, we were already protecting ourselves from that. So let's just go look at it real quick.
All right, you guys, so one of the first preps that we added to our homestead in the beginning was this water system. This is a Berkey water filtration system. It is gravity fed. You just add the water to the top. It's got some filters in here. We currently have 4 in here.
Which is 2 more than you need. We used to have 2 fluoride filters and 2 carbon filters because our city water wanted our teeth to be bright and shiny.
So you can get fluoride filters, which removes a lot more of the chemicals that you get in the city water. Yeah. But since we only have well water, we're on 4 carbon filters, which is perfect.
Yeah, you know, Bamalama, baby, because water is like one of the most important preps you could ever have, because you only get to last like a little bit longer than how much you need air, right? So we can't prep for the air right now, but we can prep for the water. You feel me? So there it is. We got this. We got the membrane solution one we've since tried. It was a pretty decent system. And then we've got like the SimPure. It does use power, but very little. So if you have like a backup system, you could use something like that and filter water very good, and a lot of it, right? That's an RO system. So, but you could do it, right? You just got to have that kind of stuff, or at least be prepared a little bit, guys. They say have a few days, a gallon of water for like a week per person or something. I'm going to tell you, we live this way. That is a small number.
I think it's a gallon of water a day
per person. That's basic bottom of the barrel, baby. I'm telling you, we live this life. We live out of 5-gallon buckets, and we use just the 2 of us. We will use, especially if you have animals and stuff like that, you got pets and things, and you like to wash your hands a bit, you know what I mean? You're going to use more like 5 gallons a day, right? Yeah. That's going to the bathroom, that's washing up, that's drinking coffee, that's making sure you got water to drink, that's the dogs have something to drink. It starts to add up pretty quick, and that's experience. So we just live in that way anyways, guys. You don't have to have the doomsday to be prepared for something like that. It was just the taste of the city water and the expensive prices we were paying for water that pushed us to look into something different, and I believe it saved us from a lot of problems, because we were using this years before the water company was saying, please don't drink our water.
Yep. So another thing to add really quick to the water thing is, if you are storing water, water chlorination tablets are key. They will kill bacteria in your water, especially if you've been storing it for a while.
You could boil it and stuff. This makes it taste delicious.
Yeah.
Boiled water tastes like yucca.
So we'll definitely leave any links in our description that we find helpful for this, but let's move on to what was next, babe.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys, you've been following along, if you've been following along, and if you just here now, we are building one of our biggest preps, right, guys? We're building our shelter. We are in the bunker right here, right now. We bring to you live today in the bunker, baby, right? And it really kinda is in a way. Downstairs is concrete, upstairs is wood, right? So we building around like insecurities and then like hopes and dreams on style and things like that. And we loving our basement right now. It's hotter than fish grease out there and hot upstairs. And even though it is hot here in the basement, it feels so much cooler than everywhere else. It's reprieve and I love it. Yeah.
We was going for the fortress feel, you guys, and we're hitting it.
Yeah. So guys, once again, I just want to say that we are not trying to fear monger, man. We know that a lot of times you guys think about us and our well-being. So with how weird things are, like, first of all, I had to shut the news off. I shut that crap off because we already know that it doesn't matter where you stand or who you're filtering, getting your information from. Really doesn't matter in the end. They all kind of are on the same category, which is fear and anger. They play on emotions, right? The strongest emotions, which is fear and anger, right? So we always know we're going to get those aspects of everything. It doesn't have to be that way, guys. You can shut the news off and still see tensions amongst people.
Don't let it get you, guys.
Don't let it get you. The prices. That brings stress levels are up. You know what I mean? And just the state of everything, right? You don't have to be political to know that it's fire season, guys. Let's dry fire season. Let's not let the people that don't know build a fire and burn the whole mountain down. How about we all just take it seriously a little bit and be like, let's just be a little bit more ready this time, because if we learned anything in the recent past, we really can be in trouble if we don't have at least a little bit of ready. And it's okay to be a little bit ready. Don't let people put you down for that, which is why we've got this.
All right, it isn't much, guys, but we got a little stash back here. Some rice and beans. Hey, check it out, you guys. I found this purple cabbage from Aldi's for 40 cents. We got a whole case of it.
All right, guys, don't get any ideas because I'm protecting my purple cabbage. Okay? That stuff is the bomb diggity, baby. And I'm not trying to shout anybody out, but if you was going to go try to buy a few things extra, Aldi's is where we like to go. Aldi's, you owe me a check, baby. You know what I'm saying? Our food preps, guys, what it looks like and what it used to be is completely different than what it is today. We used to rely heavily on Sam's Club and canned goods, and I'm just going to tell you that we bought a lot of crap that we ended up throwing away, guys. If I have any advice at all to any of you at all, you find the stuff that has the worst or has the least amount of poison in it, the longest shelf life, but make sure you're willing to eat it.
Yes.
Because you got to cycle that stuff, and then you end up with Spam. We don't like them calling us. We don't like eating them. You know what I mean? Only in a survival. I'm not waiting for the zombie apocalypse, guys. I'm just trying to make sure that I can eat and my wife can eat and the people we care about can eat if they hungry. It doesn't have to taste bad too. You know what I mean? Guys, we just like to be prepared. Listen, we like to be so prepared for everything that we engage in. We spend all kinds of time, guys. So much so that even when we moved out here to the country, I prepared for that. Guys?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it yet, right? But I've been prepared, because you don't move to the country unless you got your banjo. You feel me?
Yeah, that's actually my banjo.
Yeah, that's her banjo. I'm learning to play the guitar. You know what I mean?
I tried the guitar, but it's just too much on my fingers.
Yeah, and I'm having a hard time with the knuckle that I cut. But anyways, guys, that's also entertainment for us, right? We don't do it much, but we laugh a lot when we pretend like we're going to do it. You know what I mean? We're like, dang, man, I did learn how to tune them up, so that's pretty cool too, you know what I mean? But the point is, we were prepared to move to the country, you know what I mean? It's called, what is it called? It's kind of like assimilating, but it's embracing. We were embracing our new area. Nobody plays a banjo here, guys. You know what I mean?
We thought we were going to West Virginia.
Man, I just wanted to be able to play my banjo in the woods, guys.
West Virginia.
You know what I mean? So our food preps, guys, our food preps are a little bit sad, right? On the canned goods and things like that, we are currently on a diet, and it's really working, man. I'm losing it fast, you know what I mean? And now I'm like, dang, dude, you got small, man. You can do a push-up, but I'm still too sore. So we're working on that, but we could definitely step up that game, right? But today we have 60, 70 chickens. They provide a lot of food for us. We also have apple trees and persimmon trees and blackberry bushes and blueberry bushes and passion fruits and wild onions, and there's a lot here. There's a lot of game here. I know that if you're in the city, or if you're like, if you can't go harvest from the land, then that's not a possibility for you. That's okay too. You don't have to be prepared for the end of the world, guys. Like, we've all been prepping our whole lives, man. You go to the grocery store, you buy a few days worth of groceries because you're preparing for the week's worth of food. And when you don't have time to run to the store, you can't run to the store because of storm, you've got the noodles and the spaghetti sauce. Bama Lama, baby, you have an Italian tonight. All right. You feel me?
So one of the things that we're also considering, because we have let our canned goods get so low, is we may just start a garden. It might not be this year, but that is also something that we're factoring in.
Guys, we've been keeping a secret on this, and we're going to reveal it in a little bit because we've already tried it before and it failed, but we're doing it again now. We've already started another form of gardening, right? And we're going to share that with you. We're really excited if it turns out. But until then, Denise is right. We can't really grow any extra food. We growing some herbs down the hill. We growing some lemon pledge.
Lemon balm.
Yeah, that too. And some...
That is actually good for your medicinal
thyme,
cabinet.
some thyme or some okra.
Oregano.
That's it. Right? And whatever else, man. For real. Like, there's a lot of things that are a possibility, man. We just... One thing we don't want to do is get stressed out, right? And when we're like living in times of stress, we're trying to find ways that we can alleviate that stress, right, guys? And we learned a huge lesson out here to be prepared when you fell from 10 feet, when we didn't have a plan at all. We had a plan to plan, but we never planned it. So since then, now we have a semblance of a plan. And we also have a first aid kit, thanks to some of you guys that support us, right? You sent us first aid kit. We already had first aid kit. We had a lot of stuff, bandages, things like that, but they're in bins and masks and weird, all kinds of stuff, right? Expand on it. Be ready, man, because, like, especially if you're in the country, or maybe you can't travel. You get a cut, man. You got to be able to fix that, right? You don't have to, like, lose something just because. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to wait for the zombies to be coming, guys. But if you're preparing for that, then you're going to be ready for this other stuff anyways. But if you like, I'm not going to wear an aluminum hat, I don't need prep, blah, 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 blah. Guess what, guys? We all do. You know what I mean? Even if it's a smoke detector, or a fire extinguisher, or the security cameras, or whatever. These are things that keep you prepared for what is coming, because you can't always be prepared for it when it happens. So you pre-plan for the event, and that's preparedness. And most of us already do it. We just don't really think about it. Yeah. And all most of us have to do is step it up just a little bit, because you got to be able to take care of yourself for a certain amount of time. That way somebody else doesn't have to do it for you, right? Because that's what felt good to us when we were experiencing 2020 together. We were prepared, right? So we were able to help the people that we loved be prepared too, right? Because the world didn't stop turning, it just the doors at the stores kept closing and the shelves were empty. So we were in Denver, there was a lot of places to go. We could travel it and battle the crowds and things like that, right? So it felt good to not be part of the problem. We were part of the solution, and that was amazing, guys. And you don't have to be the big hero, right? If we all just a little bit ready, right? Just a little bit ready, guys. For real. I ain't trying to fearmonger, man, but when they say they're going to do something about it, man, let's not pretend like it's not a possibility. You know what I'm saying?
All right, guys. So one of the things that we never considered really getting in Denver, because we already had one, but it took a lot more to keep it running. These things are amazing.
They still take a lot.
They do. They take a lot, and they're not as great as a big old gas guzzling generator. But when you need some backup power, you need to run your essentials like your refrigerator. These little mini power stations are amazing. And we didn't even want to get one because we're like, we don't need it. But honestly, they are awesome. I love having these things. I got my office running on one. We got our cameras on another with our Wi-Fi and all that hooked up. So we make sure that we don't go down when the power goes out. They also act as like a surge protector. So that's helpful if you don't have a surge protector installed in your house.
All right, guys, so one of the things that we found when we were in Denver was we were not prepared for power outages. There was this huge snowstorm, knocked everybody out, all the way down to Texas. Everything was wrecked, man. And we were also like during like a shortage of things crisis going on at the same time. So we were very fortunate that we were able to find a generator, but when we did, it was like $3,000 for this thing. It's huge, don't get me wrong, but it was like $2,800 for this Honda 6500, I think is what it is. We had already had one, right? It's a Generac or a Champion or something like that we bought from Sam's Club, a smaller one for camping, it's like 3,500s, whatever. Like, the biggest thing is they're very loud and they eat a lot of gas, right? But they give a lot of power when you need it. So it's great if you need it, but the rest of the time you don't need it, man. To run a light, these power units are sweet, man. And in perfect fashion for being prepared, guys, we made a purchase not too long ago. We haven't really talked about it much with you. I'm trying to find it. All right, guys. One of the biggest problems that we found with ordering or using these power units is they usually send out just enough gear so that you can get out your door a little bit. Otherwise, you got to have the unit pretty close. That doesn't work for us. And I was having a hard time getting wires apart. So we bought the tools, guys. These are the special tools to get the something 5, T5 plugs. What do they call it? Something like that. Yeah, it's a connector on the end. That way I can keep a doggo off of it and the chickens, because for whatever reason they all seem to like to lay on that blanket.
Hold on. I got an idea.
Yeah, but now it's just gonna... Okay, hurry up while we're... Nice. All right.
We at 295 for... All right, so we got our power unit charging.
Yeah, guys, so the biggest thing about that is we were struggling. If you don't already know, a few videos ago, about a month or so ago, I got my electric bill and lost my mind, right? Big surprise, right? I was surprised by how much more they charge us just to have the luxury of having electricity out here, like they're doing me a favor or something. So we knew we had some of these units and some panels and things like that to kind of help us at least offset what we can, right? And that also spills over into being prepared, because we've experienced power outages for storms, and we haven't for not paying our electric bill yet, but it's for disruptions that are out of our control. So now we have a little bit of control. The problem we were having was we couldn't get the panels far enough away from the house to be able to enjoy any of the sun, and the dogs were laying on it and chickens, and now I can put it on top of my car. We got 50 foot extra of cord. It's going to be part of a build in the very near future, because I am not done being upset about my electric bill. But that's not the point, guys. What we were trying to do is be prepared to not even have a grid. Not for doomsday, guys. For that 14 days that they were without power here, when they did lose their power for 14 days. That's a long time. Could you survive 14 days? I don't know if I could. What happens when you run out of gas? If there's no electric, there's no gas pumps. There's nothing. You're SOL, right? So you run your gas generators with the gas that you have stockpiled up. You do that when you need it, and the rest of the time you could use these little power units that we got, if you got one, whatever. A lot of people are already so far beyond advanced than we are when it comes to solar, but we trying to catch up to you. So if you got any recommendations, we are on that mish, baby.
So we are the type of people who like to have backup to our backups. So the different kind of generators have their places within consumption needs. So each of those falls into place here on our homestead, and we are so thankful that we have them. And we were even able to bless others with them because we had an abundance, which just, it adds to having the preparedness around us.
It's about being part of the solution, right? And because you guys bless us by watching us, the advertising companies know where you're at, and they come through us, so they hook us up. So thank you guys for supporting us behind that, because without that, we might be standing on the street corner. Maybe I'd try to show you a little more of my leg to you. Maybe you give me some cheddar. But rather than asking people for a handout or even a hand up, because our pride doesn't typically allow us to do that. We really want to, even when we need it, desperate, we have a hard time asking. So when we can come up with stuff like this and come up on stuff like this and help other people that are in the same situation we are so happy. It makes us feel like we are part of
the solution.
The solution, guys. Yeah. We're going to be on the right side of things as long as we're doing things right. You know what I mean? I bought extra instant. Bought extra taster's choice, man. Nescafe, whatever it is.
So I just want to throw in something really quick. We are always thinking about you guys. We compiled a little sheet that we wanted to share with you guys and thought it might be helpful, give you some things to think about as far as where you're at with things.
Yeah.
Never feel like you're far behind, you guys, because every little step that you take just keeps you that much more ready for the next situation.
And not everybody has the same needs either, so it's just a general list, you know. You tailor it the way, you know what I mean, because the guys in Louisiana aren't trying to prepare with ice melting salt and snow shovels, right? And problems are different, and experiences and all that stuff, the preparedness needs are different depending on where you're at.
Just evaluate your daily life and your comforts. What can you live with and live without? Those are things that we've had to evaluate quite often out here.
Yeah, and now the last part, guys. It's not the least either. It's actually probably the most important part, which is why we ended up out here, why we make changes in our life, why we continue to do what we're doing, is for our mental health. Guys, turn the news off. You don't need to see over and over about how bad the world is to turn the news off and notice exactly what it is. Because personally, I can get very, very involved and go down every rabbit hole, and it was destroying me inside. I had to shut it off. Now only just filtering what is necessarily needed, not perspectives and perceptions and the talking heads, all the, you know what I mean, all the, it's just, none of it's news, guys. It's all opinion pieces, right? And we could filter that in sometimes thinking it's real news. No, it's somebody's opinion. The real thing is when you go out and you see how people are interacting. The real thing is when you go out and see the gas prices, the price of a gallon of milk, things like that. These are things that we can all comprehend. So when things are off, it doesn't matter what one person thinks or another person thinks. The fact of the matter is something's off, and we are feeling something's off, and we don't want anybody that loves us to miss on this one, guys. We already know you probably way ahead of us. We want you to know where we stand, and we want you to know that we got your back too, just in case you want it. So when you're trying to find that peace, that's the content we're trying to bring to you guys. This is just scramble the eggs, because we don't want to let this one go, guys. We just want to be a little more prepared than we were last time, right? So when you're trying to find that peace, maybe it's your flowers. Maybe it's all Grady. Maybe it's a guitar and a banjo. Who knows, man? Just listening sometimes to the peace and quiet of roosters cock-a-doodle-doing, right? It can bring you back in and quiet down the crazy chaos of the world, right? Because we have no control over that stuff right now, guys. None of it. Whether you a fear monger or not a fear monger, whether you buy into it, you don't buy into it, fact is a fact. that we have very little control over the things that are happening. All we have control over is how we react or respond to the situation. So rather than reacting, guys, we're trying to respond, and we're trying to share those responses with you, because I'm very reactionary, guys. Very. So it's all new.
So every day we are always challenging ourselves to find a better balance, because with so much chaos in this world, we all need that balance, you guys. So be sure to embrace that amongst all the things that are going on right now, and be sure to check out the list in our description and see if there's anything that maybe you can implement in your life.
And guys, for real, you can't see your nose in front of your face. So if you see something, say something to us, right? If we missing something, say something to us. Most of the time, the only reason we're not like the end of the story because of a storm is because of you guys. So if you see something, say something, share it with us. You know what I mean? And we're always open to that stuff. And you already know we're willing to share our life because we're sharing it with you right now. You feel me? All right, guys, let's end this one because I got a lot of things I got to do. I got some really sweet projects coming down to shoot that I am so excited to share with you about building our shelter. We are in the bunker, baby. And just to close on this before we end it all, I just want to reiterate once again, guys, if you've been following us and my word carries any value whatsoever to you, just know that what I'm telling you is true. This individual did say this to us, and I believe him when he said, if you know what I know, you would take it a step further. I'm full-blown prepper, right? We're still not full-blown prepper because I don't want to live in that state, guys. That's the lifestyle he chose. It's his profession, everything. But these people do know more than we know. And if we did know what they know, we would be absolutely frightened. It's called ignorance, guys. It's bliss, right? And we live in a state of ignorance because we can find peace and joy and happiness without knowing everything. We don't need to know everything. Leave that for the know-it-alls. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, just trust that I believed that guy. He was serious about his business, and he's somebody that is somebody. And I wouldn't be sharing it if it wasn't real. Bama Lama, baby.
All right, you guys, we are excited that we were able to share that stuff with you today. That's kind of how we ended up out here.
Turn the news off or you're going to end up in the woods like we did.
But we're going to wrap this one up for now. So if you guys enjoy our content, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up.
Bama Lama, baby.
Ring that notification bell.
Man, thank you guys when you do that, because it'll let you know when our content is available for viewing. And for those of you that watch it right away, that really does help us. Plus, it just lets the rest of you know that we are up and ready to be watched. You feel me? So thanks, guys.
Yeah. Be sure to share our videos.
Man, that's the next step. Like, for real, we are going through these big changes in our channel. It is really affecting us negatively. I hope that it doesn't get worse from here, but our last video is pretty evident that we're way down on views, way down on likes, way down on viewer duration, clicks. Everything is way down, and some of it is expected. But if you guys could help us by sharing us, it will definitely help us get through this rough patch. Subscribe, guys. That's the next best thing. That's the last thing. You're with us. We all crazy out here together. You know what I mean? All right.
All right, you guys. We love and appreciate you.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Peace.
Guys, just be ready. That's it. And then we can go back to being happy, because you won't have to worry about not being ready. It's more time to be happy. Put the jamalamas in. Know what I mean? And go mow some grass. Go fishing. Whatever.